It may not be immediately obvious to a lot of you watching this, but I've been keeping track of how many scripts I've written for these rants so far, and believe it or not, for those of you keeping count, this is the 50th episode, the big 5-0. It has taken a little under a year to get here. Well, a little over if you're counting the weeks I missed in between, but mum's the word on that one. Let's pretend that didn't happen for now. It's crazy to think I've come that far and I'm still making tiny little improvements, like new office, new setting. The audio's going to be better in this episode than it was last time. Like, I have my fan turned off now, so you're not going to hear, like, the that was coming through last time. I've made the lighting a little softer, so it's not like I don't look orange. Kind of wanted to make a Donald Trump joke there, but I refrained. And I've got a big question about that. One big thing that I've been thinking about for some time. I've had a lot of people ask me about the name of the series, like why it's called Fnu Rants, and back when I began this series it made a lot of sense, like it's me sitting here just talking about whatever, going off on whatever's on my mind at the time, what I think is important, but as time goes on, I've come to realize rant has kind of a negative connotation to it. It has that, back when you were uploading a video and YouTube still recommended tags for you to put in the list for your video, it would, whenever I put in rant, the immediate thing that would come up is angry, immediately followed by Joe. I'm 100% on board with that. It's made me start to wonder if I should change the name of the series to something like, I don't know, Signal Boost came to mind, because that's what I typically use the series for. I use it to get something out there, to put an idea out there and maybe get people talking about it, or bringing it up in conversation again. But I want to leave it up to you guys. Are we doing okay? Do we need to change anything? Or are we perfectly fine just the way we are? Do I need to wear new clothes? Do you think I should dress up for the part? Do you think the new office is just too cramped and confined? Let me know. I'm always open for that feedback. I'm just making a solid call out for it this time, so talk to me.
One thing I always try to do in writing is figure out how to differentiate my work, to present old concepts in new ways, and make my audience have to take a step back and make sure what they do understand is still valid. Different can be exciting, different can be interesting, and if nothing else, at least you can say it gave you something you didn't have before. But one of my favorite ways to break the mold is something I don't see in games that often, and that's escalation. Let me expand. What's the typical structure of a pop song? You have some build-up, then a chorus, then the same exact build-up as before, then the same exact chorus as before, and then a slightly altered chorus if you're lucky. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the chorus is supposed to be the focal point, yeah? It's the highlight, the big emotional payoff the entire rest of the song was leading up to. But then it drops you right back to zero again afterwards. Now when you think about that in terms of writing, unless you're working on a sitcom and have to worry about status quo, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that. You're trying to tell a story. You want the people experiencing what you made to go on a journey with you, to see things a little more clearly from your perspective by walking in these fictional shoes. So with that in mind, does putting them back at the start line every time they experience a revelation sound like a good idea? To be fair, there are songs that do constantly raise the stakes. Behind Blue Eyes adds new instruments as it goes, Boston's Rock and Roll Band tells an actual story, and to a lesser extent, even Boom Clap has touches of this. I mean, half of Pink Floyd's entire catalog is based on this concept. But the example I will always point to when talking about this is Brain Stew by Green Day. That is a song that hits you with hook after hook after hook. It not only gets more intense with every repetition, but as per the title, uses this to make you feel like you're slowly slipping into madness, feeling the excitement, fear, and downright paranoia that can come from simply being left alone with your own thoughts for too long. And then, just when you think it's over, it launches you straight into a whole nother song. More energetic, more lively, and more rockin' than anything that came before. That's how you do it. So now the question is, how do we apply these concepts to a video game? And the answer is, we already have, to greater or lesser extents. Metroidvania games are a good example. In Aria of Sorrow, the various transformations and special moves you get are all really fun tools to play with, because while their main function is transportation, most of them have other applications as well. But here's the trick. They're all hidden behind boss fights. You only unlock these tools for overcoming these landmark challenges, these big bad battles that test every skill you've acquired so far. And once you've proven proficiency of the toys you have, one more gets brought out of the box to shake up everything you knew before. These items may not change the world visually, but they do change how you approach it. They not only give you what you need to reach whole new areas, but also traverse old haunts even more efficiently, opening up shortcuts and secrets in the most unexpected of places. It's a cycle of discovery, growth, and mastery that's proven effective time and again because it gives you that definitive curve, that gradual rise in the action that keeps your hands tied to the controller. In Super Metroid, there's a trick called wall jumping. It's a move Samus has right from the get-go, but most new players didn't realize this because at the time, kicking off the wall to gain extra height was still a logically unrealistic expectation of a game character. It wasn't until you encountered the animals that most people realized they had an entire other traversal tool right under their nose. And that one discovery is the turning point. Suddenly you started looking at every room differently. The entire world changed. You started thinking of ways you could use your newfound knowledge to push the limits of where you could go and what was attainable when. And because Super Metroid is a game that encourages you to complete it as fast as possible, experimentation like that was key. Plus, it might lead you to discovering some other moves like Shine Sparking and the Crystal Flash. Even labyrinth games like Enter the Gungeon and Binding of Isaac, which do start you over at the beginning every time, are compelling because you never truly set back to square one. You're always unlocking new items, finding new guns, or getting the currency you need to unlock even more new items that can increase your chances of victory next go around. And as you get used to which items and weapons you like or don't like, you can use your limited resources more efficiently, further boosting the odds in your favor. But Enter the Gungeon takes it a step further, by making the very process of preparing for your next run an ever-expanding endeavor. Finding cell keys unlocks more companions for the central hub, and these guys in turn give you even more ways to accelerate your progress towards the credits. You can feel it when things start speeding up in a labyrinth game, and when you look back on what it took to get there, it only makes it more satisfying. What I'm trying to get across here is that making a good first impression is only half the battle. Now you need to keep your audience interested, and while your methods for doing so will vary from game to game, you'd be amazed how effective constantly raising the stakes can be.
Look, I know your contract says you gotta be in every single episode, but seriously, I'm running out of ways to do this organically. No, a shelving unit is out of the question, okay? This room is gonna belong to other people in a couple months. I can't just go pounding holes in the wall wherever I want. Besides, shelving units cost food paper, and that's something I don't have a whole lot in abundance right now. Besides, the green I've got is going towards the moving fund, if you hadn't noticed. Sorry, say that again. How much are you willing to give me? Oh. Well then, Mr. Bearlock, I'll see what I can do.